Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news. Is Ruben Amorim taking a huge risk on Gyokeres? One, because we're delaying the deal until July, which allows somebody else to swoop in. And two, because according to Rio Ferdinand, other than physicality, what else is there? We'll be reacting to that madness very, very soon. Also, could this be Man United's best summer transfer window in ages? We heard from Ben Jacobs earlier talking to Beth about their plan, their strategy. If it comes off, could it be one of the best summer transfer windows in ages? We'll be talking Rashford, we'll be talking Ganacho, we'll be talking Kazmiro, we'll be talking Mbeumo, we'll be talking Ndidi, we'll be talking Ferdinand. We will be talking a lot of things on the show tonight, and we will also be talking Manscaped, because the show is sponsored by Manscaped. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Where's my bag? Where's my bag? I mean my bag from Manscaped. Give me the bag. No, I have got my items with me. We've got the lawnmower. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. There it is. We've got the beard trimmer there, where you can get the package, the beard and the balls bundle. Fantastic, 20 different lengths on it. All these products are fantastic. Waterproof as well. Come with a light on it. Brilliant stuff. You can get the handyman for a tidy up. You can get the weed whacker for up the nose. And the best thing is you get 15% off exclusively with the United Stand with the code TUS15. 15% off and free worldwide shipping. That means when you go to the website or click the link in the description and you choose your lawnmower or your beard and balls bundle, you use the code TUS15. It knocks 15% off, but you also get free delivery to wherever you are in the world as well. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Precision engineering for your family jewels. Trusted by millions of men worldwide. Check out Manscaped through the link in the description or scan the QR code and use our exclusive Manscaped offer. Brilliant. Also, just want to say, I should have said this morning, big shout out to Gregory. It's his birthday today. His mates have basically messaged in and said he's a big fan of the channel. Can you say happy birthday to Gregory? We can. They also call him Huna, the Huna, whatever that means. So happy birthday to you from your mates and from me. Jamie Williams actually sent that in. There we go. Right, let's get into the show. It's 8 o'clock in the UK. We're loving these evening shows at the moment. We have got so much to unpack, like I said. Goalkeepers as well. Donnarumma, ter Stegen, Martinez, all very much on the agenda for Manchester United. Really interesting. So, look, essentially, I think where we're at the moment is that Troy, I'm removing that. Don't want that name. Thank you very much. I am very much of the opinion that we are going to get Mbeumo. We've got Cunha. And then we're going to sell before we buy Jotarez. Is that risky? Man United seem to have a plan. As Ben Jacobs said this afternoon, there's no rush on Jotarez. We'll be dissecting that because I think there's an element of risk there, unless we definitely know that we can be patient on that. But I want to just start off a little bit differently for an 8 o'clock show, because we can go through the news and we will go through all that. But remember, this is a fan community as well, and opinion and debate is what it's all about. I saw the comment from Rio Ferdinand and Joleen Lescott today. I think UTD Exclusive put the clip out. Don't worry, I wouldn't watch their content. But I saw the clip, and basically it was like they were talking about Gyokeres, and basically the summary was this. I've seen him 3 times. I've watched him in depth. We watched it together, didn't we, Jolene? And you know what? Other than physicality, what else is there? And I just thought, oh my God, can we just move? First of all, it's almost the retainer here, you know, the asterisks. Rio Ferdinand, Joleen Lescott played football for England. One was way better than the other, but they both played professional football. Respect. One played for Man City. One was a legend at Manchester United. Respect. But I am tired of listening to ex-players and having to, you know, bow down to their knowledge. You know, most of us have watched football for decades, probably more in depth than they have, because we have to watch it. We're not playing it. Yes, they've been in dressing rooms with better players and coaches and stuff like that, but football's a very simple game. And when I see somebody saying Gyokeres is a risk because other than physicality, what else has he got? I've watched him 3 games intensely. Well, what is this? The FIFA generation? Maybe he had 3 bad games. He is a human being after all. But I find it absolutely incredible that what has he got other than physicality? His finishing is elite. His shot power and precision is unbelievable. So unless Virgil van Dijk and every other centre-back's going to put him in a sleeping bag and carry him on their back, if he gets a sniff at goal, he's an unbelievable finisher, which is why he's scored more goals than most people in world football this year. That's not just physicality. He's also number 1 in the Portuguese league for one-on-one dribbles and progressive runs, ahead of all the wingers. He also scores free kicks, which isn't about physicality, and he also gets a lot of assists. He's also a pressing monster. He also finds space a lot. So if the analysis of a United legend is, well, I'm not sure about Gyokeres because other than physicality, what's he's got? And I've just listed 6 things off the top of my head that he's very good at. I mean, this is what you're up against. Not even signed for Man United and all he's got is physicality. It's the same people who go, Martinez is too small. De Ligt's slow and not physical enough. You know, what's next? I don't like his name. It's just crap analysis. Really crap analysis. And look, I would prefer someone like Rio to say, Gyokeres has got his qualities and I can see why Amorim would want him to come in, played his system before, knows the player, he's got lots and lots of attributes that would fit the way Amorim wants to play. But personally, I prefer Osimhen. Personally, I think Osimhen would be better. That analysis is absolutely fine. You can't really pick holes in it. But, well, I've watched him 3 times with Jolene and, I think Lescott said something like, that won't work in the Premier League. Oh, my God. When was the last time you played in the Premier League, mate? A decade ago? It's just nonsense analysis. I mean, look, if they've got a problem with it, I'm happy to go and sit in between the pair of them and have the conversation. I'm not asking to. I don't necessarily want to, but if they wanted a proper conversation, I'll enlighten them. But you can't just sit there and go, that won't work in the Premier League. Beyond physicality, that's all he's got. I mean, come on. It's not the 1980s anymore. Football's not like that in the Premier League. It is intense, but it's not a physical battle. There are strikers that do well in the... I mean, Isak's not necessarily physical, is he? You know, it's just crap analysis. But I bring it in because, one, I think it will open up your thoughts, which is what we want to do. But I have seen people saying this. You know, Rio's not the only one. I've seen people saying it won't transfer to the Premier League. You know, acting like... I mean, people are acting like the Portuguese league is the National League. They're forgetting some of the players that have left the Portuguese league to do things elsewhere. A lot of them in the bloody Premier League. It's incredible. But look, if you don't know about Gyokeres, maybe you'd fall for that crap. But he's not just goals. And even if he was just goals, his finishing's unbloody believable. But he dribbles, he carries the ball. Obviously, he's physical. He takes free kicks. He gets assists. He finds space. He presses from the front. He suits the system. One of my favourite things about Gyokeres, and I've watched him more than 3 times. I haven't watched him 30 times, but I have watched him more than 3 times. And one of the favourite things I've seen about Gyokeres, and you can see this in his compilation as well, to be fair, his movement's very good. He's very good movement. They're acting like he's bloody... I don't know. I don't even know what striker they think he is. Just a physical striker. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what they think he is in the modern game. Who even is that? The pundit Prats forget he put 3 goals past City, says Mikael. Is Lescott the guy with the huge forehead, says Parker. Is there other number 9 you would sign instead? No, Jordan. No, because the thing about me is I've said Arsenal should sign Gyokeres over Sesko. I never thought we were going to get him until, you know, the last few weeks. I genuinely think he'd be a brilliant signing for Arsenal. Ferdinand talking like the back of a donkey. I just think when it comes to the summer transfer window, the best place for Rio Ferdinand is at a train station on his Nokia talking nonsense like last year. I'm excited for Big Xerxes next season. He'll be moving mad, dropping between Cunha and Mbeumo. I'd rather have Martin. Well, that's not going to happen, Liam, is it? So you think Xerxes playing up front next season? No thanks. It's a nice theory. Some people might enjoy it, but absolutely no thanks. No way. I'd rather have Martinez over to Stegen. He's a crazy one. Kent G gifted a membership. I mean, imagine if... I mean, I've got to go back to Liam's point. Imagine if that's our problem. Imagine if that's our plan next season. Cunha and Burmo, and then just stick with Raasmus and Xerxes. Fucking hell. Oh, I don't know. Kent G, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much. Sorry, Kent G has gifted a membership. Veneman, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for being one of our new members tonight and supporting the channel. Really appreciate that. Get your badge in. Welcome to the Members Club. Cunha and Mbermo and Gyokeres plus Martinez or a better keeper equals the best perfect window and gives us some hope, says Amrit. Stian's gifted a membership as well. I work with Mbermo's dad. Here we go. Trust me, says Prank Football Games Forever. Yeah, with a name like that, we're not going to trust you, are we? Mike JW says, evening Goldbridge and legends of the chat. Please, 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 we need to get Gyokeres. He's way better than the others in my opinion. This is necessary. Also, Mojo's in the house. He's gifted 5 memberships. Legend Mojo of the chat. Emily Derry, another legend, says the same Gyokeres they were raving about after the hat-trick against City. Now United are linked. The negativity comes out. I agree with you, Emily. I don't get it. There's something about... There's a massive amount of bitterness in and around Man United, normally in the media, sometimes in our ex-player community when we sign a player. We've seen it with De Ligt, we saw it with Martinez, we're seeing it with Gyokeres. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's they want British passport players. I don't know. FIFA Crazy says, I think the wing-back position is going under the radar and it's so vital in this system. Don't fully have faith in our options. Remember, Amorim wanted Mendes, says FIFA Crazy. Need Mark in a cardigan. John Richardson Bridge, says Kent G. The pundit perhaps forget. Okay. Anyway, that apparently that's a risk of Gyokeres. Apparently it's just about physicality, which is nonsense. But the other thing that I think is a bit risky is the, and I was listening to what Ben Jacobs said earlier, that effectively Man United, and we've seen it, we've got the money for Cunha, we've clearly got the money for Mbermo, but once that's out the way, we need to focus on sales before we go for Gyokeres. And Man United are in no rush to change the plan. So that's basically where we are at the moment. We spoke about this morning. Patience, don't panic, etc., etc. We're not in possession of the facts here, but one thing that I did want to bring in is it not a bit of a risk, this, if it goes wrong? Because we will get Mbermo, I'm absolutely convinced of that, and we're working on that at the moment. But if Gyokeres is like there's no rush, this is the most important position in our summer transfer window. I think Cunha's a great signing. I think Mbermo's a great signing. But the striker is the priority. This is the guy who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. This is the most important piece in the puzzle. There are important pieces in the puzzle, but the striker is the most important one. So why are we not in a rush? But we were in a rush to get Delap. I don't... Is there just something we're not switched on to here? Because scenario, Mbermo takes another week or two. In that time, somebody swoops in and signs Jotarez, and we're there going, well, we weren't in a rush. I don't know why, and also, I don't know why we've positioned ourselves with the striker that we need to sell to buy. So again, you buy Mbermo, and then it hits the end of June, and it's like, we can't buy Jotarez until we've sold Ganacho and Rashford. And then you don't sell Ganacho and Rashford until the back end of July, and then you bring Jotarez in early August, a couple of weeks before the start of the season. So I'm sort of like, I'm a little bit nervous because this is a player I'm never going to say 90%. I'm never going to say hotter than the sun because I think it's such an important player. And if you don't get this player, where do you go? Where do you go? So, Mbermo for me was a bonus. When we got Cunha, I thought that's it. We're sorted for number 10s. When we got Mbermo, I was like, yes, a bonus. Gyokeres is not a bonus. Gyokeres striker is essential. So I'm a little bit like, why are United doing that? Of course, there is a simple explanation scenario. Man United know that they're going to get Gyokeres. And it's just about, you know what? We're going to get Mbermo done because we need to. And with Gyokeres, we know we've got till the end of the month because he's not going anywhere. We know we have a relationship with Sporting. Sporting maybe want to register it in the next financial year anyway. We can't actually sign him till the start of July. We're not back in pre-season until the second week of July. We're not going on the tour until the third week of July. So actually, as long as Gyokeres is a Man United player by the start of pre-season, it's June the 10th. And I haven't got a problem with that. I haven't got a problem with that. And that's probably the pathway that we're following. But it is risky if we haven't got him secured. That's all I'm saying. It is a bit risky. But hopefully we know what we're doing here. Because as I said at the start of the show, if it follows the pathway Ben Jacobs was talking about with Beth, Cunha's already here, and Burmo next, Gyokeres towards the end of the month, early July, sell a few players, maybe the goalkeeper, later on in the window, and maybe a fullback and a midfielder later on in the window, I can deal with that. If we get Gyokeres and Burmo and Cunha for the start of pre-season, I'm happy. I can deal with that. So, but it's, scenarios, isn't it, and how they play out. I think we've only been given half the story. There's no rush up to a point. Probably for both United and Gyokeres, neither will want to wait all summer. And yeah, I agree with that, Emily. I think that no rush it's the 10th of June. I think in 3 weeks, it'll be the 1st of July. 3 weeks can go very quickly, but it's also 3 weeks away. Mojo says, the sort of news coming out on outgoings, it's scary that we're finding it difficult to move on Sancho, Anthony and Rashford. So are we then dependent on Ganacho sales only, says Mojo. I think Anthony will go. I don't think we'll make a lot of money out of Anthony, but it will remove a wage and it will remove a player where we don't make a loss. Anthony will go because there's interest and he wants to get, I think he was back in, correct, am I right in that? He was back in the Brazil squad, wasn't he? So I think with Anthony, that will happen. Rashford we've spoken about. If Barcelona don't want him, then where does he go? Sancho, I think, is going to go on loan to Dortmund. I know that was mentioned on the show with Beth earlier with Ben. I think he will go on loan and run his contract down with Dortmund. And then Ganacho, well, the latest with Ganacho is that Napoli want him. He's open to going to Napoli, but Napoli won't pay any more than 42 million. So United are sort of hoping that there's going to be a bit of a bidding war going on here so that they can bump that price up. Chelsea have gone for Gittins at Dortmund, and they probably still will get him. So whether they'll still need Ganacho or not, I don't know. But they do like collecting under 23s, so maybe they will. But I think with Ganacho, there's just, I'm not totally happy that of the scenario with Ganacho, but I'm dealing with it. I'm over it. So I think everybody just needs to move on with that one, and that would free up some cash, hopefully by sort of back end of June, certainly. What was said about Kazmiro is quite interesting. And I do want to talk about the goalkeepers as well. What do you reckon on Ganacho to Villa? He's a bit of a flair player, the way Grealish was before Pep ruined him. Is he an Emery type of player, says Lou? I don't know what the situation is with Villa, because apparently they've got financial fair play issues, and that's why Martinez might be an option for us. But I don't know. I think he'd be a good player for Villa, Ganacho. I'd love him to go to Villa. I think he'd be really good for them. But and Emery's the right sort of coach to develop him, and they do play with wingers. But I think it would be very good for him to go there. But I don't know whether I see him going to Villa, really. Just tuned in, Gyokeres possibly or looking unlikely. No, Luke, there's no setback. There's no off. It's nothing to do with that. It's more about the risk of, it's just about physicality. Or delaying it, holding it off. Could somebody swoop in? But hopefully we've got it laid down, I thought Agate had a good first season, having never played in the Premier League. Why is the media making him out to be useless? Because it's the media, Richie. You've answered your own question. I really do. Swear on my life soon, says Prank Football Games, talking about Mbeumo. Speculative, but maybe Gyokeres has told us yes, says Jacob. I hope so. I hope that's what it's all about. Because if a striker has told you yes on June the 10th, you don't need to actually get him in for 4 weeks when you think about it. We're back in pre-season football. 4 weeks today. I think we start 4 weeks today. Speculative, yes, Jacob. I think it's imperative we need a goal scorer, says Mike JW. This guy's as good as it gets. If the plan fails because we can't sell, the club have screwed it up, says Mike. Why are we not going for Theo Hernandez, says David. Why are we not going for Menyon at 20 million? Why are we not going for, somebody else? Mojo's just gifted 10 memberships. Give him a W in the chat. Rush for Delap because he was cheap. Tight asses, says Thomas. And Will Scott says, do you think ex-players feel their opinions are more valid because we were decent when they played and this gives their ego more kudos, says Will Scott. I think every ex-player I've ever spoken to thinks their opinion's better than a fan. And I haven't even got a problem with that. They do, because they've played the game. And they think because they've played the game that their opinion is better. I've never felt that. I don't think it's true. I've spoken to so many people in my life that never played football at the highest level, and they know it like the back of their hand. And probably most of you as well. But they do think because they've played it, that they're the best. It's like a cow saying, I know most about steak because it came from my arse. Same as. ex-players. I know more about football because my opinion comes out my arse. Yeah, it's the same. Look, I like talking to ex-players. I mean, I spoke to John Terry for about half an hour at Baller League a couple of months ago, and it was probably the best half an hour I've spoke to any ex-player. But only on the things I wanted to know. Like, I wanted to know who was the best player he played against. I wanted to know who was the best player he trained against. I wanted to know his thoughts on Chelsea and stuff like that, where he can give me a little bit of inside information. That's where ex-players are interesting. Start a podcast about the good old days under Fergie. United's ex-players are a huge problem for this club's success. They're bitter and pissed off they aren't playing anymore, so they slate new players, says Nick Anderson. I suppose when you look at it, if we do sign Gyokeres, Rio Ferdinand has basically said he's nothing more than a physical. He's got nothing to him. It's not a great... Yeah, you sort of... Look, they're entitled to their opinions, and some of these people are YouTube influencers now. But... yeah, as a new signing, you want to get behind him. I work with Mbermo's dad. Here we go soon. I've done that from Prank of Football as well. Let me talk to you about the goalkeeper situation just very quickly. Let me just send this message. Okay, so I was very interested by another story today that came out from France. I think it was Julien Laurens, who I think works for ESPN. He linked us to Donnarumma. We've also been linked to ter Stegen, and Ben Jacobs said this afternoon again about Emi Martinez that there might be a deal that Man United can do there as well. So I'm sort of like I'm looking at the goalkeeper scenario. And look, there is a bit of stress around the goalkeeper, of course, around the striker, because there's not an abundance of options, and you want to get that one. But I've also got a bit of an update about from Fabrizio coming in about Gyokeres, which I will come back to as to why he's angry. So there's something going on there as well. But you know what? I think in relation to the goalkeeper situation, it is a primary position. It is a necessity. And the interesting thing about this summer transfer window is I don't think for 1 minute that Donnarumma will leave PSG, and he's probably using us to get a better deal in Man City as well. But it's no harm to look at look at the goalkeeping market. You've got Maignan, who is the #1 goalkeeper for France. You've got Donnarumma, who is the #1 goalkeeper for Italy. You've got Emi Martinez, who's the #1 goalkeeper for Argentina. And then you've got ter Stegen as well. So you've got 4 very, very good goalkeepers who are on the market. And we've got an Arna. And, I mean, as an analogy, it's a bit like having 50 quid in your pocket and the Italian restaurant's open, the Indian restaurant's open, the Chinese restaurant's open, and, the local pizza places aren't open as well. And you've got, burger joints open, and they've all got 5 stars on Google reviews. And then at home, you've got, a slice of bread. And why would you stay at home? You've got 50 quid in your pocket and everywhere's open with great reviews. I just think with the goalkeeper situation, that's sort of how I view it at the moment. There are good options out there. They are plentiful. Some of them are not massively expensive. And it's all better than staying in at home. So I think that for me is a really important factor here. It's like we can do something in the goalkeeper market. I respect and, reflect on the fact that we can't do everything at once. And I thought Ben Jacobs said something really interesting earlier on, that Man United are moving a lot quicker in the transfer window than they normally do. And I think sometimes you've got to say, hey, we are definitely moving quicker normally we get a deal done at the early. I think Mason Mount was early a couple of years ago. I remember doing Dan James early a few years ago. Last year, we didn't do anybody early, did we? We didn't do anybody early last year at all. So we are moving a lot quicker when you consider it's 10th of June and we're very close to Mbermo and we're being linked to Gyokeres. So we are moving quicker, but like Rogue says, are we moving quick enough? And we'll only know that once pre-season kicks in and we see what we've got and what we've got to do. And also, I think I look at Liverpool and go, Wirtz, Gyokeres, Frimpong, and they're trying to get a striker in. They're all going to be in for the first day of training. And we saw what happened with Arne Slot having a team to train with, and we know how important this is to Amorim. So I don't think we can pat ourselves on the back because we're moving quicker in the market. Sometimes I think we're really bad at appreciating just common sense. Oh, United have bought Cunha. Let's build a statue of Sir Jim. Gone out and bought a player he should be buying. Oh, at Man United, you know. We do need to keep this tempo up. We do need to move quick. I applaud the fact that we're moving quicker than we have done in the previous years, but that just shows you how bad we've been in previous years. Kazmiro, Anthony coming in when the season's already bloody started. Agate, Amrabat coming in at the end of a window, missing pre-season in the first 3 games. You know, De Ligt, Mazraoui coming in at the start of August and missing pre-season. And, you talk about Ten Hag and he was gone by, after 3 months. But look at his signings. Yoro never played for him because he broke his foot. Xerxes, De Ligt and Mazraoui came in very late, and Agate came in after the season had started. So it's, we do need to move quicker, and we are moving quicker, and that is a good thing. But that doesn't mean that we're going to get everything done, and I think there are opportunities, certainly with the goalkeeper, to do it. I'll take it being done later in the window, but let's make sure we do it, because I think the goalkeeper market looks very, very interesting this summer. Just a few bits coming in from Romano in the last few minutes, which is nice. Let me just update you on some of these. First and foremost, why is Jotarez angry? There was something I wrote down here as well. Yeah. So basically, why is angry? Gyokeres is angry. Why? Because there was an agreement between the players' agents and Sporting that the player would be allowed to leave for a transfer fee of around 65 million euros. This was dependent on payment terms, etc. Why this agreement and not paying the value of the release clause? Because the player has always been serious and professional. Last summer he received many offers but decided to stay, and in January had a chance to leave but decided to stay. Therefore, out of appreciation, Sporting then agreed to let him leave for the reasonable sum. But now the club is asking for an amount higher than 65 million euros and perhaps up to 80 million euros. And for this reason, the player may not be happy with the club's behaviour, which has made the situation tense. Let's see what happens, but I still feel Gyokeres leaving Sporting this summer. So that's significant then. I know this was rumoured last night, and to be fair, that rumour last night was very good, but big update on Rashford coming in as well. That probably explains the situation that's going on then. Because you can't move quickly on a deal. Nobody can. Nobody can. So we can't move quickly on Gyokeres if Sporting are saying they want 80 million euros. We probably can't even sign him if he's going for 18 million euros, like Kelvin says, one of our members in the chat. So I would say that what's going on at the moment is a bit of a stalemate between the player and the club, and us and whoever else is interested are probably just monitoring that situation, going, what's going on here. So look, but I'm like everybody. When things are delayed, other people can come in. And when other people can come in, that can be problematic. But we're just going to have to be patient. Also, this is big. This is really big. So a bit of breaking news, half an hour into the show here. So Fabrizio Romano has given an update on Rashford, and it's not good. Rashford's transfer possibility to Barcelona is only 40%, because until this moment, there are no official negotiations between the two clubs. Rashford is one of the options on Barcelona's table. He's a player the club values, and they wanted him in January, but Fatih decided not to leave at the time, so the deal did not go through. Man United are asking for £40 million. So, look, 40% is not dead, is it? It just means that at the moment, it's just a little bit under 50-50. Things can change. Maybe that's a starting point. I mean, to be fair, though, actually, I say it's a big update. We were talking about this on the morning show. Luis Diaz has been linked to them. Nico Williams has been linked to them. They're both better than Rashford. And if Barcelona feel that they can get them, then maybe that's where Rashford won't get his move to Barcelona. And then, if they do decide they want Rashford, maybe they're going to negotiate the price down. So, look, I'm relaxed about it. I think Ganacho is going to be the first one that goes because he's in the most demand, and the fee will be good for Ganacho because he's 20. He's clearly worth at least £40 million. You can work the add-ons out. It's pure profit. So Ganacho's going to bring money into the football club. Rashford's pure profit, but, you know, where can he go? His wages are prohibitive. If Barca want him, they might drag it out. I think it's more of a problem for Rashford than it is for us because we can focus on other sales anyway. But for Rashford, he needs a pre-season. He needs a pre-season. He can't be at the end of August going somewhere trying to restart his season when everyone else has and then hoping to get in the England team. So I think Rashford, you know, needs to not just sit waiting around for Barcelona, because if he does that, he could end up like he did in January. Because United suddenly upped the price, says Chris. How would you rate United's transfers so far? I'm so busy with work stuff that I cannot focus on the footy as much, says Kalo. How would I rate Man United's transfers so far? We've only made one. It's really difficult. Really, really difficult. So, yeah, I mean, I think Cunha's a good signing, but I can't rate the transfer window after one player. Gyokeres saga reminds me of Frankie de Jong, says Sakin. Well, that's one saga we won't be going for because apparently Frankie de Jong is going to sign a new contract at Barcelona. No, it's not the same. I mean, I get what you mean. De Jong, Ten Hag, you know, obsession. Amorim, Gyokeres, obsession. But I hope it doesn't end like that. But I don't think it's similar because the player never wanted to leave Barcelona, did he? Miles, welcome to the thank you very much for gifting a membership. What's your thoughts on Ganacho's 70 million price tag, says Will? I think you're talking out your arse, Will, because no one's mentioned 70 million. Would you sell Xerxes for a profit, says X-Dan? I don't think we would. I don't think we could. We paid 35 million for him. I don't think we'd get it back. Have you seen that Fulham are looking to re-sign Palhinha? Good player, Jay. Good player. Hi, Mark. I just wrecked my knee playing five-a-side. This community is the only thing that keeps me entertained. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Miles. Appreciate that. Krestos says, I last night dreamt of you dancing in the rain. I'll leave it there. I will leave it there. Yeah, definitely going to leave that there. Let's talk about Kazmiro for a moment because someone mentioned Palhinha there. I just wanted to just sort of revisit what I said last week. Maybe it was this week. No, it must be last week. It's only Tuesday. So I said last week, obviously we have been getting a little bit of information and it's been very, very good. I've not had anything for a few days, so and when we do, I'll tell you. But last week I got told basically that the situation with the midfield is that the midfield roster is Bruno, possibly Mount, but let's say not. Bruno, Mainu, Ugarte, Kazmiro, Collier. Amorim wants to bring a midfielder in because it's an important area of the pitch and he wants to have his own midfield. However, to do that, he's got to move somebody on. And it's partly financial, but it's also partly roster-led. We're not in Champions League or Europa League. We're only going to play Premier League and domestic cups. You don't need 6 midfielders. So he's not going to be able to bring in a midfielder and then just keep it like that. So someone's going to have to go. Now, I was listening to Ben Jacobs this afternoon and he was saying Mainu's expected to stay and sign a new contract. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I don't think that's unlikely. But what he also said was Kazmiro. Kazmiro would be a player that Man United would like to move on if they're to bring another midfielder in. Literally what I said last week. Literally the situation. But if Mainu's going to stay, I don't think Kazmiro's going to go. So I'm sort of getting to the point now with the midfielder where, I mean, I even heard what Ben Jacobs said linking us to Ndidi. And I'm like, there was that time 4 years ago where Ndidi to Manchester United would be, you know, massively excited. I mean, he's still only 28, to be fair. But I don't want Ndidi at Man United. I really, really don't. So I think the problem with the midfield is we do need one. And I'm not convinced about Bruno in the midfield, as I've told you many, many times. But where is it? Where are we likely to go? I know for a fact the club would love Adam Wharton. You know, they'd love him from Crystal Palace. That's not going to happen this summer. Maybe that's a next summer deal, but it's not going to happen this summer. Beyond that, what is there? really out there that Man United can go and do. I don't think the midfield market is actually that good at the moment. So I can definitely see a scenario where if we bring a midfielder in, we're going to have to move on Mainu or Kazmiro. But I can really see a scenario where we do neither. I think this might be a little bit like Lindelof and Eriksen, where you keep Kazmiro for another year and Maguire for another year, and then you probably let them both go, and then you look to replace them next year. I don't see the midfield situation happening, if I'm being honest. What do you think the United 12th of the 6th thing is? It's the new kit. Tio. Yeah, it's the new kit. It's the new home kit, isn't it? I mean, I hope I haven't just ruined that for everybody, but there's this Man United have been building up to something for Thursday for a few days now, but I'd say it's obviously the new kit. Because it can't be a signing. Yeah. I haven't been told that by anybody, but I think it's very obvious to me that that's what it is. Mojo, welcome to, 20 memberships gifted by Mojo. If you've got your badge in the chat and you're now part of our exclusive members club, give Mojo a shout out and welcome to our new members. Thank you very much to Callow as well. There was a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. And Diddy I've spoken about as well. Oh yeah, Raasmus. I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, so I mean, I've just taken some notes basically from the video Beth did with Ben Jacobs, but I wanted to bring the Raasmus situation into it because basically the big problem we've got with this is, and look, I say it's a problem if United want to move him on. The big problem they've got, and in some ways, it's similar to Onana, and we don't talk about this enough with Onana actually as well. You've got this position where many people would change Raasmus and Onana, right? But they've both only been here for 2 years, and they both cost quite a lot of money. So it's not just about moving them on, it's about not having a loss on the books. Because you could move Onana on, but it could cost you 20 million to do it because you might only get 15 million pounds for him and his book value is more than that. And this is the thing with Raasmus as well. I can't remember what his book value is, but we did pay quite a bit of money for him. And are Inter going to want to give us 40 million pounds? Are Napoli going to want to give us 40 million pounds, or are they going to want to do a loan deal? And I think this is the difficulty that Amorim and Manchester United have with someone like Raasmus, because he wants to stay and prove himself, as we know. But also, if Amorim says, I don't want him to stay, I want him to move on and, you know, build his career elsewhere and we build a new future, which is his right, the club are then going to say, but no one will give us money for him, mate. So, you know, he's only 22. You're getting a striker anyway. Can't you use 2 strikers? You know, can't you work with him? And then we've got 2 strikers. It's one of those. I think people think get rid of Onana, get rid of Raasmus, and then we can use the money. But we can't use the money. We'll do well to break even on FFP. Removing them doesn't mean you get money for a replacement. Ganacho funds replacements. Rashford funds replacements. Bruno would have fund replacements because they're all pure profit sales. Onana, you need the money from elsewhere. You can't sell Onana and then use that money towards another player because his book value is going to eat it all up. And the same with Raasmus as well. So I don't know what will happen with Raasmus. I mean, I personally would rather keep him than take a loss. And I would rather keep him and have him as an understudy to someone like Gyokeres personally. Because I think that's what basically should have happened 2 years ago. I think it was incredible that we brought a 20-year-old in to run to lead the line for Manchester United after one season with Atalanta. So I would keep him and have Gyokeres as the main striker, and then, you know, see where we are next summer. But we're not going to be able to sell him for profit. So we're just selling him to get him off the books, and his wages aren't particularly big anyway. And also, if I'm being completely blunt, how much negotiating does that take with Napoli or Inter or Juventus when we could be negotiating on other things? We haven't got endless resources to negotiate transfers. We can only do so many. So I just think if we get Gyokeres, I would probably keep him Because then next year, there's more book value anyway. But Onana worries me, as I've said to you multiple times. It worries me because who would give us money for Onana in the European game at the moment? Shahin says, which goalkeeper do you think will sign, if any? I think more and more people, the more people who speak to me about this, the more. Look, I don't know. I don't know. But from people, 2 or 3 people I've spoke to in the last week, most of them say Martinez. So, I don't know. I mean, look, I would be very happy with Martinez because he's got aura and he's a good goalkeeper. Do I feel like he's a Man United goalkeeper? I don't really know. But is he better than what we've got? Yeah. Has he got a personality? Yeah. Does he command and lead? Yeah. Is he not a captain anyway? So, yeah, I think I wouldn't be unhappy with that. But I don't know. I don't even know if we'll get a goalkeeper. As I said just then, it's difficult to remove Onana. And maybe they'll go for a younger goalkeeper or a less experienced goalkeeper. Maybe they'll go for that Torino goalkeeper. He's not just a World Cup winner, Louis. He won them the bloody World Cup. I know it was Messi on all the pictures, but let's not forget, he saved the penalties in numerous penalty shootouts. And you know what? Mawani, one-on-one, he made that save. If Mawani scores that, it's a French World Cup. The comments from Ferdinand are uninformed and stupid, says Greg. Like Delap is a better player. Gyokeres scores goals and works his balls off. We need that in abundance. What it is, Greg, is it's the typical British media who are blinkered, who don't actually have a bloody clue what goes on outside of the Champions League games they watch and the Premier League. That's what it is. Gyokeres wants PSG, Arsenal or Liverpool per Portugal media, says Manuel. That might be the case. That might be the case. And if it is the case, Manuel, we're in big bloody trouble. Because... I've not read that anywhere, by the way. I've not read that anywhere. But if Arsenal get Sesko, he can't go to Arsenal. If Liverpool don't want him, he can't go to Liverpool. And if PSG go for somebody else, he can't go to PSG. And I don't think he suits PSG's system either. So I think that might be a bit of a flawed argument. But what I would also say is that... Sorry, let me just get rid of this idiot in the chat. What I would also say is I'm completely comfortable if he would rather go to Arsenal. Because I wouldn't expect a player of his quality to be absolutely in love with the idea of Manchester United when we're not in Europe and we've just finished near the relegation zone. What we've got to do is make sure we get this deal done. I don't really care about whether we're his first choice or not. What we've got to do is get this deal done. And, you know, I think we have got an opportunity of doing that. I mean, let me just have a quick look at this anyway. Gyokeres next club odds. And they haven't changed. I mean, he's 1-4 with William Hill. He's 1-3 with Ladbrokes. He's 2-7 with Bet365. Sky Bet 2-9. Juventus 5-1. Saudi team 10-1. Arsenal 10-1. Liverpool 14-1. I mean, look, those things can change, but at the moment, they're basically saying don't bet on Man United because the odds are so obvious, you know? We'll have to wait and see. Look, I've played the game. You've played the game. What do you know? Transfer windows, and we've done plenty of them. Transfer windows are, by their very nature, up and down. Aren't they? They're up and down. And there will be pros and cons. Of course there will. And at times we'll feel like we can take on the world and we're going to finish in the top 4. And then at other times we'll be struggling. And we'll be worrying. So yeah. what a load of shit that is. Sorry. But if only you could see what I'm looking at. But you know what? It's certainly not the time to it's certainly not the time to be running away with enthusiasm, and it's certainly not the time to be running away with negativity. Still very early in the window. Still a lot of things that can go right. Still a lot of things that can go wrong. And I can't predict what's going to happen because I don't trust the Glazers. I don't trust Sir Jim. And we had a good summer transfer window last year, and I'm hoping, because it's Ruben Amorim's first season, in fact, I'm demanding that he gets what he should be getting at the start of his Manchester United journey. You don't bring a manager in who plays a completely different system and then not back him in his first summer transfer window. Like, he needs a pre-season. Yeah, he does need a pre-season, but he can't polish a turd. Look at how shit we were in the Europa League final. Absolute shite. So he needs players that can play his system. They better go and get them. 1's not enough, 2's not enough, 3's not enough. He needs a lot more than what he's got, because I remember last season vividly. I remember that final vividly, and we were absolutely terrible. So I don't for 1 second think 6 weeks with no games training with that squad he's going to turn us into Villa, let alone bloody Chelsea or Liverpool. So he needs players. He needs them ASAP. He needs them for pre-season. And if there's anybody at Man United going, we're in no rush, we're calm, we're relaxed, maybe look at the last 10 years and see what happens to Manchester United when we don't get our signings in for pre-season. We do fucking awful, basically. So let's get these players in as a priority. Probably just bullshit from the Portuguese media. Just wanted to say that because that's what they're talking on our channels, says Manuel. Yeah, I think the Portuguese media is very much the same as the English media, the Italian media. There are good bits and there are really bad bits. I mean, I was talking about Sky yesterday and some of the stuff they were talking about. There's others as well. But yeah, I mean, look, we will see what happens. How do you know when an ex-United player is talking rubbish, says Greg. He opens his mouth. I hope, as Osman has previously agreed terms with PSG, it would be practical for them to target him again and therefore leave Gyokeres open for us, says Thomas. Yeah. Look, I think there's... Look, the transfer window's just closed for the Club World Cup, hasn't it? I think Chelsea want a striker. I think Liverpool want a forward. PSG probably want a forward. Arsenal want a forward. Juventus want a forward. That's 5 off the top of my head. Napoli want a forward. A lot of people want forwards. So there's plenty of places that Gyokeres could end up going. It just feels like United have got something going on with it. As I said on Sunday, what I saw, I'd be very surprised if we don't do it. But we've messed up deals before. We can do it again. Wingbacks seem key to the system. Are you worried, says Jack? No, not really, because we can't do everything in one transfer window. We can't get 2 10s, a striker, an 8, a centre-back, 2 wing-backs and a goalkeeper in one window. We can't. Financially, there are restrictions, but also I just don't think that's practical to do that. Outgoings are as important as incomings. Delot, I mean, the big thing about, and I think it's great when you're getting lots and lots of updates and lots of opinion and everything like that. But you know what? Last night we had 26,000 people watching. Where did 10,000 people go? Well, because they're like, last night was quite big news about Gyokeres, and tonight we've got people. I mean, I hope you're not watching England Senegal. I mean, I'd rather you're watching Love Island if that's on. But you know, you get the hardcore of, we've got 16,000 people watching who are the hardcore community who enjoyed the conversation, and I like it when we're reacting to big stuff, but I actually prefer this because you can have these conversations we're about to have and we have had. I want to have the conversations about how this team's going to work next season. I want to have the conversations about how bad we were last year and how 3 new signings are not just going to change that. I also want to have the conversation about what you're saying there about the wide players, because I don't think it's worth Man United going and signing another fullback, because when I look at Ruben Amorim at Sporting, it's not a back five. It can't be a back five. It's too defensive. The whole point of his system is that it can overwhelm teams, and you've got to get width. So in an ideal world, your wide players are wingers, your 2 number 10s and your striker are overwhelming their defence, and then your pivot is there to back it up and provide a platform. And maybe one of your centre-backs as well. We can't have 3 centre-backs and 2 full-backs. Like, long-term, that can't be what we're trying to do. But last season, it was. So I think people get lost on this whole Delo, Mazraoui, Dorgu, and whoever else, because they're all full-backs, really. I'm looking at, are we actually going to use Ahmad outright? I mean, Dorgu, I think, can become what Mendes is for PSG and Portugal. But I want those wide players to be attackers as much as they are defenders. And at the moment, they're very much defenders more than they are attackers. And I think that's something to get into your head, that we do need to do that. I mean, look, Kenda would have been a United signing. He was priority A. He was plan A. And obviously David Ornstein was reporting that at the start of February. This is the player that Man United want. And this was after Dorgu. He signs for Chelsea, and it comes out that United might not be looking at a player like that anymore. So wide players are so important in an Amorim system that we are going to have to focus on that area at some point, but they're very distinctive wide players, aren't they? They're wide players that are very good going forward, and that's what we need to look at. But whether we're going to be able to do it this summer transfer window, I don't know. I mean, look, there's going to be an element of next season of not being the perfect package. We will be sort of, I think every team is a percentage of their way there. You look at Liverpool, very much an established team. Arsenal, established team. Man City, established team. I know it went wrong. I think next season we're probably going to be somewhere between 50 and 75% of the way there, if we're lucky. Maybe 75%. But we will walk into that season with areas where it's not perfect. Like, as I said, Onana could still be in goal. The midfield roster could be the same as it was at the end of the season. We might not buy any wide players. But up front and in the number 10 position, you've totally rebuilt it there. So I think that we're not going to be able to solve everything, but that doesn't mean everything doesn't need to be solved. If we pull off Victor deal, I'd be very shocked, says Jide. I'd be very shocked if we didn't. Secret Love Island fan bridge, says Miles. I don't even know if it's on. Jide says England struggling to beat Senegal. I'd be struggling to watch England, really. At no point did I even think I would watch that game tonight. Wingback seems key to the system. Are you worried, says Jack? We've just done that one. Good one. Appreciate it. Look, thanks everyone for watching tonight. Really enjoyed it. Started last night, Linda. 9 o'clock. I noticed that. 9 o'clock. See, I'm finishing the show at 9 o'clock. It makes me look like I'm a Love Island fan. I'm not. I'm definitely not. Yeah, let's reconvene tomorrow at 10. But I'm relaxed about where United are at the moment. I think when it goes a bit quiet, people start to get a bit negative. That's not going to happen for me. I think there's an element of nervousness, but I'm happy with where it is. In my mind, I'm mapping it like this. Cunha done, and Mbeumo next. Back end of the window, sale of Ganacho, purchase of Gyokeres. Pre-season restarts. We start moving a few more players on, like Rashford, like Anthony, hopefully Onana. And then we're looking at goalkeeper, maybe a midfielder, maybe a fullback in. But honestly, if you got Jotarez and Mbeumo by the first week of July, you've done half of your incomings before pre-season. And I think that's what we've got to look at. Definitely. Thanks everyone for watching. Absolute legends in the chat. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Big shout out to Mojo for all the gifted memberships as well. And welcome to all our new members. Your badge will be in the chat now. And thank you very much for being a part of it. Everybody, take care. I'll speak to you all in a bit and stay safe.